Welcome to Group Now.
And here is the rest of the team, looking generally quite cheerful. This is all going to be on YouTube later, so watch out.
Do it now while we're smiling. Have you?
Okay. Just a quick look at the group. This is all going on YouTube later, so watch out.
Going on YouTube. Watch YouTube.
What's YouTube? Yeah, okay. Well, with best of weather, it's quite good so far.
Apart from the odd of a few friends, and 2007 I had for race.
So we had 3 weeks on all the old forests.
Gradually getting closer to Vietri. Weather seems to improve a little bit. Could be worse. Hey, and around we go.
Staying here in this land while 70 years ago ci fu l'operazione Commando.
It's very emotional, and I can, having seen the country, I can now appreciate just how difficult it was. It obviously was an extraordinary invasion, very hard country.
1943 a Salerno, nelle coste di Salerno, e anche qui a Vietri. Un evento importantissimo perché grazie agli alleati sono militari da parte del 41esimo Commando inglese, ci furono anche delle truppe americane. Voi pensate dei giovani, cercate di medesimarvi dal punto di vista economico, di giovani di 20 anni, più o meno erano molto giovani, e qui c'è il colonnello che ha partecipato materialmente, un giovane di un'altra nazione che viveva in Inghilterra tranquillo, gli hanno messo un'arma in mano e gli hanno detto vai a liberare questo paese straniero che loro non conoscevano. Molti di loro sono morti per la nostra libertà. Quindi io li ringrazio.
She gave a few beginning information about what you are doing here, who are you, and what happened back in 1943. And she told she is very moved by this because she herself was hit in her family by a tragedy. Her grandfather died because of a grenade. Then you can suppose what she's feeling right now. And she told these young guys here, this is the middle school.
I thank the whole people of Vietri for the welcome that we have had in your town.
Come prima cosa ovviamente ringrazio tutte le persone di Vietri per il gentilissimo benvenuto che è stato dato loro nella piccola cittadina.
We were not here in 1943. I was 6 years old.
La buona parte di loro non materialmente stava qui.
Those 2 rocks are called the Two Brothers, and there's a legend about them. And they are on the coat of arm of the village. Vietri has a coat of arm, and the 2 rocks are on it. Then it is the.
Everyone smile. Here we are, 41 Commando, 70 years later.
On the beach.
On the beach.
On the beach.
Except it was 4 o'clock in the morning, now it's lunchtime.
No coffee.
Okay, now
Behind us, up here, is
Dragoneer Hill, which some of the troops had to walk up sweating, and here are the boys down below, and then above is where ex-troop went, Liberatore, just zooming up there.
And there's some trenches.
yeah, some trenches.
And this is what we're going to do next. Moving into the mayor's.
You're getting profit, and the fact he's not able to understand English. Make bad jokes.
Oh, it's a joke against England.
No, è una battuta contro gli inglesi.
So this is lunch on day one, and we are living high on the hog, actually high on the swordfish. It really is absolutely magnificent.
10 minutes.
A little bit of salad over there. This is the... And we're driving down the valley at the moment, and there is the top of Dragonair, the Pimple, which we hope to get onto later on. The enemy to the right. This is the valley as we go over the How's About It Now bridge into the foothills of Dragonair, where we're not going to see anything. Okay, we're on top of Dragonair. We're looking towards Cava, where the Germans were. It's obviously rather more built up now than it was 43 years ago. Behind us is the church that was totally destroyed in 1943 and rebuilt in around 1950. This is the plod up the hill. We must be somewhere very near the top. This is much better than last year. We are undoubtedly somewhere in the area of A or Q troop, probably A troop at this stage. This is probably the peak of the hill here. We're facing the valley, and you can see Liberatore on the right hand side where Pro X troop were. If we pitch the camera down, you might get a sense of the very steep fall into the valley below. It's my guess that Q troop was somewhere in this area because they talked about being able to see into the valley below, and they were in dead ground. My guess is the dead ground is further back this way, where hopefully we're going to go next. Swiveling the camera around this way, we can't see it of course because of the trees, but in this direction is Cava, where the Germans were. And A troop was somewhere on the forward ground. We'll probably get back to that later. Everybody is here. Lots of tactical discussions are going on. Everybody's got their own idea of what happened in the battle, whether it's English or Italian, generally good-humoured.
The colonel says
the reverse position, we've discovered that they moved up in the direction of the camera into exposed ground away from the tree. This is the dead ground up here. The ground rises up in this direction, and there's no doubt from the story by Ray Mitchell that they were somewhere around the sharp edge of the top of the hill, which is exactly what I'm standing on. Down here to the left, Rod, if you'd like to pan the camera to the left and point it downhill. It's probably a little bit stiff, that's it. We can see the hill falling away down onto the left hand side. We know that the Germans tried to come up this hill, whether it was here or further up there. I suspect further up there. And then if we pan the camera around the other side, we will be able to see Liberatore and the steep valley. Actually, we probably won't see the steep valley. And over there, I don't even see the here. All right. Is this round, which I can't, oh, it's there. Rob put his hand on it. It's supposed to be a 105mm shell. I'll just move around it a little bit more. Oh yeah, no, that's definitely a shell. We won't bother to play with it too much. Obviously didn't explode, so whoever was around Rob and I have found the forward slope. May not look it here, but from where I'm standing I can see directly towards Cava, where the Germans were. It is also highly likely that the Germans were coming up this very close country here, which we'll see when we pan the camera around. But we imagine that troops or sections of A troop were actually somewhere in this position. This is definitely forward slope, and they had Vickers machine guns here which could get a very good line of sight over the other way. Now if we pan the camera around, I'll go back on, you can see it, I'm dropping altitude rapidly here. This is very much a forward slope. And behind me, over here, we can see Kaba, where the Germans were. And in the local ground, this is probably where the Panzer Grenadiers were having a go. Grenades were being thrown. The high-speed M42 Spandaus were being fired, and the much slower tunk 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 of the Vickers machine guns being fired back in this direction. Not forgetting, of course, the Bren guns, which played a key part in this area. If we pan the camera to our left, we're looking at the left flank over here, and again we know that the Germans were coming up this side, and indeed Q Troop were invited to come forward to this area to support A Troop. Ultimately, after 5 days of fighting, the two troops were so decimated that they were combined into one troop, and they occupied an area of about 6 tennis courts, and I suspect were standing somewhere in the area of those 6 tennis courts. What drove the Germans out? It was ultimately not just the 4.2 mortars, very well positioned and fired by the Americans, but it was naval gunfire. Why weren't they earlier? Because they didn't have radio communications to them. Once radio communications were established, the naval gunfires could lay down very heavy fire, and at that stage the Germans had had enough.